Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our Dharma family service, our first service in October. We'd like to begin with Sutra chanting. We'll be chanting Juseige, which you can find in the small purple book on page 23. Ganga Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. Namo. Okay, next let's recite the three treasures. And it's on page 3 in the small purple book, or it'll also be on the screen. Can you see it? The three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life, now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the Buddha Dharma, now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves your supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord, in your life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. Okay, thank you. I'd like to deliver the Dharma message. We will sing a gatha, but we'll do that after the talk. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Today, I would like to talk about awareness, or lack thereof. This idea of awareness kind of popped into my head, and so I'd like to share an experience that I had. I actually kind of like tore my fingernail. This is a few weeks ago, maybe even a month ago. I tore my fingernail. I didn't tear it all the way off, but I tore it. I didn't even realize what happened. I just knew something happened. I was in the kitchen. It was kind of dark. So I thought, oh, okay, it broke it a little bit. And I went in the in the bathroom and turned the light on. I was like, oh my gosh, wow, that's pretty bad. I don't want to gross you out too much, so don't think about it, okay? Just realize I did that. And then you could tell, this is from Ohigan, which is a few weeks ago, right? Look at my finger. Can you see the Band-Aid on there? So I was kind of wondering if anyone would notice the Band-Aid. So, you know, I had to think about it. I had to take care of it. I wrapped it up, put Neosporin on it, washed it, you know. And so I was putting a Band-Aid on it because I knew if I didn't do that, I'd catch it on something, right? Especially when you reach into your pocket for your wallet or your keys or something and it catches, right? So I just knew I'm not gonna be able to be totally aware of it. And so I gotta put a Band-Aid on it. But I realized later, so beware. Beware of those corners. Beware of, you know, catching it on something, right? And so that idea of kind of beware, be careful. Right? So this term beware is interesting because it sounds a lot like be aware, right? There's actually a song by a band called Gong that goes, beware, be aware, beware, be aware. And I can't tell you the next lyrics because I'm at temple. But so this idea of beware, watch out, right? I think beware is related to danger, right? So beware, there's something potentially hazardous, right? There's something dangerous, so beware. But be aware is maybe more general, right? It's not necessarily associated with danger, right? To be aware is asking us to be mindful, to pay attention, right? So, but then the question becomes, be aware. Aware of what? Right? And so, you know, we hear about mindfulness a lot these days, but I think we always have to ask the question of mindful of what? Be aware of what? Right? Sometimes it's amazing how even mindfulness can be twisted around and used for nefarious purposes. Right? And so I want you to, whenever you hear mindfulness, don't be like, oh yeah, mindfulness, great. Ask questions. That's true of anything. That's a basic Buddhist approach. Don't take anything for granted. Don't just accept what you hear. Think about it. Be aware. Maybe even beware, right? That somebody could be tricking you, right? Americans, we don't like to be tricked, right? And so, well, although often we are, I think, but I think in general, right, there's kind of this skepticism that's part of maybe America, right? And even that, though, can be perverted, huh? So again, be aware. Right? And so, aware of what? One example, my finger. Right? And it got to a point when I felt like, okay, you know, I think I don't want to have the Band-Aid on 24/7. Right? Because the adhesive can kind of mess up your finger, your skin, right? The Band-Aids I was using were pretty good. Maybe you can guess from the picture what brand. But I kind of didn't want to have it on all the time. So I thought, can I not wear the Band-Aid sometimes? Bandage? Band-Aid is a brand. Be aware, right? I don't want to sell stuff here. But so I took it off and I just tried to be careful, right? I tried to be careful of my finger, not make sweeping movements with my hand. I actually stopped playing my bass pretty much completely. I haven't played in like a month because I wanted to take care of my finger. And I knew while playing, that's some place when I could accidentally snatch it on a string or something like that. So that's one kind of awareness, right? And it wasn't easy. And you know, I also thought, should I have been more careful? Could I have been more careful when I tore it? And I think the answer there was no. I was just moving something in the kitchen and it happened to catch on the kind of a sharp corner. And I felt it afterwards and I was like, it's not sharp at all. I just really nailed it. Right? So I could be more careful. Maybe I should have had the light on, but, to think back and was I doing something that maybe I shouldn't have been doing or whatever. So in this case, I think no. But that's something also to be aware of, huh? Am I doing something that could be hazardous for myself? Another kind of awareness. Aware of what? Eating. Right? And this is actually a really good place, I think, to kind of try and be mindful. And there are these mindful eating exercises. So I can think of 2 examples for this. Now, if I was really fancy, I would have put up pictures of food. I was thinking while I was chanting, I was like, I should have put more pictures in the PowerPoint, but then I'd just make you hungry, so that'd be mean. So that's my excuse for not putting pictures. One is to think, are you aware while you eat? Do you eat mindfully? Are you aware of the flavors, right? Of the textures? Are you aware of where the food comes from? Right? How much effort was put into the food? Maybe if you made it, yeah, you're like, finally, after all this preparation, I can finally eat. But if someone else prepares it for you, I don't think about that. I'm just like, shovel it in. Right? So all these different aspects of eating where we can try and be mindful, where we can try and be aware. And that's why we say itadakimasu. Itadakimasu is this Japanese expression. It just seems like a Japanese expression for time to eat or let's eat, but that's not what it means. It's trying to be mindful and aware. It's trying to express not only awareness, but also gratitude. Right? So that when we eat, rather than just eat mindlessly, right? Rather than just shovel the food in, we have this kind of awareness of how special it is to be able to have this meal. Right? Trying to have an awareness of how much effort went into that. So I've been trying to come up with but you can't translate it, because itadakimasu just means I'm receiving. You could also maybe, it's implied, I'm humbly receiving. Right? But I'm trying to come up with some like recitation we can do. So if you come to Keirokai luncheon, we'll do it. I'm trying to go with awareness and appreciation, and then people would repeat that. We humbly receive this meal. And then people would repeat that. Namo Amida Butsu, itadakimasu. And then it's like, yay, eat. Right? But that's what itadakimasu is. It's this trying to be aware and grateful. So that's a big aspect of mindful eating, which admit I'm not good at. There's so many times I catch myself at the end of the meal like, what happened? I'm like totally full. And the meal is over because I was just like, yum, 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 and just kind of shoveling the food in, right? So I have to really stop and catch myself and think, no, just slow down. Yamoka sensei always tells me, Harry, you eat too fast, right? Every time, it doesn't, without fail. So I got to try and slow down, but also be more mindful, right? Be more aware while I'm eating. The other one I want us to all to think about is, have you ever tried something new and you put the food in your mouth and you're like, ew, yuck, right? Something there in it you don't like, right? It doesn't, whatever reason, it's a flavor or a texture. Now what I've found is it's so easy to be like, I don't like that, I'm not gonna eat it, push it away. But the amazing thing I've discovered in the past couple years, only the past couple years, is often if I take another bite, it's not as bad. Right? If I take another bite, I can't even remember what I didn't like about it. Right? So that first bite, don't stop there. I remember Yamaoka sensei saying too, try again, right? And see how it is. Right? If I realize, ooh, I don't like that, right? I can be aware of that thought. But then try it again and see. Right? Maybe eat something else and then try another bite. Okay? Because a lot of times it seems like the stuff that's good for you is stuff we don't like. I don't know how that works. Right? But like vegetables or something, it's like you don't like it and you're like, I don't like that. Maybe you still, it's not your favorite food, but be aware that maybe I'm hanging on to that initial aversion. Right? That's attachment. It's like attachment and aversion at the same time, right? This is where mindfulness happens too. Don't just be like, I don't like it, next. That's mindless. To be mindful is, I don't like it. Let's try it again and see what happens. The thing that I didn't like about it, I don't taste it so much. Okay, let's keep eating it. Right? Or, I still don't like it. Okay, have something else, try again. You still don't like it. Okay, I get it. Right? But to kind of break it down, don't just give in to that first impulse. So I really feel like that's a new thing that I've learned that I'm trying, because as you get older, you have to eat healthy stuff, and you can't just eat only what you like. especially if it's not good for you, right? And so to try and be open to these different experiences and not cling, don't attach to your assumptions, right? Don't attach to the aversions. Don't attach to these things, to be open to going beyond that. So I want to talk a little bit about awareness in Buddhism. I talked about my finger, right? Like kind of injuring yourself and having to be aware of your body. Talked about food, right? And these different aspects of awareness as related to eating. But let's think a little bit about awareness in Buddhism, okay? One character for awareness or mindfulness is Nen. Nen. And I think you've all heard this term because it's the Nen in Nembutsu. Okay, Nembutsu is core Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, our kind of Buddhism, Shin Buddhism. And one way to understand it is awareness of Buddha, because the Nen is awareness, and then Butsu is just the Japanese pronunciation of the Chinese character for Buddha. So Nembutsu, if you hear that, let's recite the Nembutsu. That one way, well, I said recite. One way is just to think about Buddha, right? So it could just be bringing Buddha to mind. So it could also be mindfulness of Buddha, Nembutsu. And it seems like the Sanskrit, I didn't put that on here because it's too much, but Buddhanusmriti. There's this practice in Buddhism of bringing Buddha to mind, whether just a thought of Buddha or really making like a mental picture of the Buddha in your mind. But I like the idea of kind of the thought of Buddha, you know, and so, you know, remember what would Jesus do? WWJD bracelet or whatever, right? And you could have a what would Buddha do bracelet, right? To try and remind you what, you know, okay, here I am. Well, what would Buddha do in this situation, right? To try and go beyond just my knee-jerk reaction. But for us, Nembutsu is really Namo Amida Butsu, right? That Nembutsu is saying Namo Amida Butsu. We've already said it. I've said it at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, at least 15 times already in service today. If you followed after me, you said it at least 8 or 9 times, I think. 6 times at least, right? Because we do the 3 and 3, right? So Namo Amida Butsu, saying Namo Amida Butsu is Nembutsu for us. But there's also a term, Okunen. Okunen. And this we can just translate as mindfulness. This term I bet you're not so familiar with, huh? So this term Okunen, the Oku is also found in Kyoku, just a modern Japanese term, Kyoku, memory, right? To be able to remember something. And actually, the Oku can also be read as Oboeru, to memorize something. It's not the normal kanji. There's a different kanji that they normally use, but that Oku can be read that way. Right? So this Oku is connected. Actually, is this Oku? The character on the left here, that left side, it's like a up and down, like look at number 1 with the 2 little things on the side, is actually kokoro, mind. And actually the bottom part too, the 4 characters parts on the bottom of both Nen and the right side of Oku is kokoro, mind. Well, I'm pointing here, mind and heart, right? It's not really separate in Japanese, in Chinese, right? The mind and heart is just this kind of single kind of area, but we can think of it as mind. So Okunen, as mindfulness, and then I always think, well, what does Shinran, does he use it? Because we can find this in general Buddhism, but how about Jodo Shinshu, Shin Buddhism, right? And it's found in the Contemplation Sutra, but it's also found in Shinran's writings. So I'm going to do this one first. So if we've ever had a chance to chant Shoshinge, there's a part in the Nagarjuna section, Okunen Mida Butsu Hongan, and this part, Jinen Sokuji Nyu Hitsujo Yui no Josho Nyorai Go Oho Dai Higuze On. Right? So we have that in Shoshinge, one of the main texts of Shinran. And you see it right the first line, Okunen Mida Butsu Hongan. This is Chinese. Shinran wrote in Chinese too. He wrote in Chinese and Japanese. So Okunen and then Mida Butsu Hongan. So the moment one thinks on Amida's primal vow. So it can also have this idea of thinking on or bringing to mind. Right? So thinking about Amida's primal vow, one is naturally brought to enter the stage of the definitely settled. And so that means if you bring Amita's primal vow to mind, right, you're going to attain birth in the Pure Land. It's definitely settled, the stage of the truly settled. Solely saying the Tathagata's name constantly, that's Namo Amida Butsu, it's Buddha's name. One should respond with gratitude to the universal vow of great compassion. So, O ho daihi guze on, that last line. The ho, the second character, and the last character on, ho on. We have our ho on service teams here, right? So that's often translated as gratitude, but it's responding with gratitude to the benevolence of the Buddha. Okay? So, okunen mira butsu hongan, being mindful of Buddha's primal vow. Mindful that Buddha grasps me as I am. That actually, I may want to change, but even that wanting to change, I think, comes from Buddha, for me anyway. Without Buddha, I'm just doing my own thing, right? But it's because of Buddha's grasp, it's because of Buddha's light, I think, that I'm able to see, maybe I don't treat people the way I really want to, right? That I can be kind of mean, I can, just be kind of selfish, and Buddha's light makes me realize, wow, maybe there's something that can change, right? That I wasn't able to see before, but realizing, wow, but at the same time, I don't have to change for Amida to accept me. So it's kind of interesting, right? I don't have to change. Amida accepts me as I am. And yet, in that embrace, responding to the benevolence and actually being transformed. Maybe change is possible, right? Not just through my own effort, though. So let me share this one. This is one of my favorite poems. This is Wasan number 1. So Shinran, in addition to writing Chinese stuff, he also wrote poems in Japanese for kind of average people. Right? And so we recite these poems in service, like at Honzan. Every morning they recite Wasans. This is number 1 that actually doesn't get recited. So I'll read it in Japanese first. Mira no myogo tonae tsutsu, shinjin makoto ni uru hito wa, okunen no shin tsune ni shite, button hozuru omoi ari. The person who truly attains shinjin, the entrusting mind, as they recite Amida's name, always with a mindful heart and mind, wish to respond to the Buddha's benevolence. Okay, so that third line has that okunen no shin, with a mind of mindfulness, awareness. Here, I think, awareness of Buddha, right? Awareness of Buddha in my life. Now that shinjin, that is the core experience for Shinshu, and I could go on for hours and hours and still maybe not even get close to being able to express it, but it is something I'm trying to talk about more. I put the shinjin here, but it could be entrusting mind entrusting in Buddha. Right? So, and it's not something that I make happen, actually. It comes from Buddha's side. So that's the hard thing, is how do I get there? Well, part of it is saying the name, reciting the Nembutsu that I mentioned, Namo Amida Butsu, in my life, and then being embraced by the Buddha and having that shinjin awakened in me. So someone like that would, always with Buddha in mind, Buddha's compassion in mind, have this thought of responding to Buddha's benevolence. So there's still a lot open in here, right? What does that mean? Like, we could probably go through every one of these characters and be like, what does that mean? What does this mean, right? And I'm still learning decades later after first starting, right? And yet, I think there's something here, right? This realizing, wow, I'm embraced by Buddha as I am. It's okay to be me. I can be myself. And yet, also, okay, right? And responding to that. And how does one respond to that? I can't tell you, do this, do that. Even though we have host group and host duties, and I think some people think if I check off, okay, I did garden duty and I did this, I did my home, I got it done for the year, I'm done. I fulfilled my obligations, right? That's not how it works. I don't think that's how it works, right? This is something all the time, right? And it's just a way to live. I think that's partly the life of the person of Shinjin, right? The life of the Shin adherent. And so, I know that there's a lot in here. We did that one, and so I'm going to take this off. So I shared about my finger, right? Thought about eating, another daily, everyday kind of thing. And then we looked a little bit at these kind of hardcore Shinshu things, right? Shinjin, mindfulness, responding to the Buddha's benevolence. I think that there's space in there for you. Right? I could try and come up with example after example, and that's why we read, that's why we listen, that's why we listen to Dharma talks, that's why we hang out at church, you know. But, so it's not an assignment, I mean it kind of is, but in a way I'd like to ask for you now, right? That you find this in your life. Do you just go home and everything's gone? And you don't think about Buddha, and you don't say Nembutsu, and you don't try and be aware? I don't know. You tell me, right? Maybe this next week, right? You can think, did Buddha come to mind in this whole week? Right? Did I go through an experience when I felt like, oh, wait a second, I had a kind of knee-jerk reaction, but I kind of caught myself, right? I was a little more aware. Sometimes those knee-jerk reactions, especially if it's anger is so easy, it flares up and just rah. Desire, right? We're constantly being sold stuff. We're constantly being given stuff that we're supposed to want. And so do we just give in and go think that's the way all there is? Or can I catch myself? Oh, whoa, there was a desire. It's okay. If there is, it's okay. How could we not? And yet, just mindlessly giving in to desires, mindlessly giving in to anger, right, is samsara that we want to go beyond, even if we're stuck in it. And so I really want to genuinely ask, right, that maybe in the coming weeks, because we have Dharma chat in about 3 weeks, I think, so that might be a good spot. So how about that? You have until the fourth week in October when we have Dharma chat. Right? And so if you come to Dharma chat and I say, did anything like mindfulness, did that come up in your life? And you're like, nah. Like, okay, I mean, that's fine. You know, but I hope, you know, something happened and I realized, whoa, wait a second. Right? Maybe I thought, and maybe if you don't have to think, what would Buddha do? But you can think, what is a good response? How should I respond in this case? A lot of it is response, huh? It's responding to something, to stimulus. Isn't that what we do as animals? As just living things, we respond to stimulus. As human beings, maybe we have some more reflective capabilities, right? And so with all this stimulus in my life, I feel like we got a lot of material. What should I do? What do I do as a Buddhist? Live your life and get material from that, right? I can't tell you how to live your life. Other than say the Nembutsu and try and reflect and open up to Buddha's wisdom and compassion. You each go through your own life, right, and have your own experiences. And so rather than just mindlessly going along, maybe try and think about, what does this have to do with Buddhism? Does Buddhism have something to tell me that could help me maybe? So I want to thank you very much for attending our Dharma family service and thinking along with me, I hope, with these kind of different ideas on awareness, possibly mindfulness, and why don't we conclude then with Kansho. And I'd like to read that Wasan number 1 again by Shinran Shonin. Mira no myogo tonai tsutsu, shinjin makoto ni uru hito wa, okunen no shin tsune ni shite, button hozuru omoi ari. The person who truly attains Shinjin, the entrusting mind, as they recite Amida's name, always with a mindful heart, wish to respond to the Buddha's benevolence. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. Okay, and in honor of today's topic, I thought we could try to sing a classic Gatha, so it's Small Purple Book, page 101. And it's by A.R. Zorn, When We See the Golden Sun. the golden sun shining from above. We are mindful of the Buddha's love. O'er us all his pure compassion sheds its steadfast glow. By his doctrine, wisdom's way to show. When we see the silver moon gleaming in the sky, we remember still the Lord is nigh. By his blessed law to guide us through this earthly night, out of sorrow into joy and light. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. So what were you aware of while we sang the song? It's an old song. It's over 100 years old, so some of the language is a little different, but I still like it. Okay, we're going to have announcements now from Robert Noguchi, so give me a second to get the mic set up. Select the speaker. There. All right, Robert.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, good. Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Sensei. Welcome to the Buddhist Church of Oakland. My name is Robert Noguchi. I'd like to first give a shout out welcome to a special guest today here at Buddhist Church of Oakland, Mrs. Terry Omori, visiting us from the Vista Buddhist Temple down in the San Diego area. She is the president of the Buddhist Churches of America. Terry, would you please stand and be recognized, please? Thank you very much. And once again, welcome to the Buddhist Church of Oakland. It's nice to have you today. Right now, I'd like to thank Reverend Bridge for his Dharma talk and officiating today's service. Reverend Michael Endo for assisting in today's service. Steve Terusaki for playing the organ. And our host 7 group, chaired by Maya Lawrence, who's providing hospitality for those attending service today here at the church. So with that, I'd like to turn your attention to the screen and where you could see the Buddhist Church of Oakland website. I guess right away, I want to mention that our Shotsuki service for the month of October will be coming up right after this service at 11 o'clock. But in the month of October, it's extremely busy. We have a lot of things going on. Next Sunday, the October 8th, will be our Dharma family service at 10 o'clock, followed by our Ishini, Kakushini, Lady Otani service, memorial service will be happening at 11 o'clock on that day. And then in 2 weeks from today, on the 15th, our Dharma family service and Dharma school service will take place along with our Keto Kai, which will be happening that day, as well as a luncheon afterwards. So everyone's invited to come to that. Let's see. Oh, I guess before that, let me see. On the day before that, Saturday, October 14th, we'll be having a movie screening of an anime film that was mentioned at our Obon service with Reverend Dr. David Matsumoto, called Your Name. And we'll be having that screening here at the church Saturday, October 14th from 1 to 4 p.m. and along with discussion and comment from Reverend Bridge. So we hope you'll join us for that. And actually, there's a flyer inside the Bushin and online on our website. And actually, you could take a look at listen to Sensei's talk from that day, our Obon service, which gives you some insight into the film. So I would highly recommend that. The following Sunday will be Sunday, October 22nd. We'll have our Dharma family service. And as Sensei mentioned, our Dharma chat at 10:45 to talk about various aspects of Buddhism in everyday life. And I know I missed the excuse me, the last one that we had in September, and because I was out of town, but I look forward to hearing everyone's comments and questions at our Dharma chat, next Dharma chat on the 22nd. And then on the last Sunday will be October 29th, and it's our annual traditional Namu Amida Butsu, the BCO Dharma School Halloween party on the 29th. So we look forward to having our Dharma School students here on that day. Let's see. Going to the Buddhist Churches of America, BCA, BuddhistChurchesofAmerica.org. You scroll down, you'll see a couple of different events happening coming up soon over the next few weeks. This next one coming, this Western Song debut is coming up, webinar coming up next Saturday. So, but all this detail is on the BCA website, BuddhistChurchesofAmerica.org. So please check that out. Going back to the BCO website, BuddhistChurchofOakland.org, we accept and appreciate all donations, any and all donations. You could do it very easily from our donation page that uses PayPal. You could see, you can even just a simple donation today, even for general donations or just regular Sunday service donations can be done here. So again, we appreciate and accept any donations made to the Buddhist Church of Oakland, and we thank you very much for your support. And with that, I'll send it back to Sensei. Thanks so much, and have a great day.
Thank you, Robert. And this will conclude our... Hey. Oh, sure. Is it? Come up here to the middle.
I want to thank the BCO Sangha for all of your individual contributions to the Maui Wildlife Relief Fund. It's been a really an amazing outpouring of support for those on Maui. The BC temples, individuals from the BC temples have raised over $100,000 of contributions that are going to the Hawaii Honganji Mission. And so that money is going to be specifically dedicated to those folks from Maui Wildfire Relief. In addition, BCA's Social Welfare Fund donated another $50,000 from our Social Welfare Fund to support Maui Relief. So I wanted to first of all thank everybody in our Sangha who have supported the effort for Maui wildfire relief. The BCO board, in addition, did an additional contribution, but rather than to focus it for just Maui relief, we wanted to help support the social welfare fund itself. And so the BCO board did a donation of $2,000 so that the social welfare fund can continue to do the great work it does to support both these kinds of disaster reliefs, but also to support other kinds of applications for grants that are coming through for social welfare. And the BCO board made the other statement that we want to, in 2024, do a separate campaign to remember and to support Maui victims also, because not only is it important for us to support now, but it's going to be important to support later. So in 2024, just be aware that BCO is going to take the initiative in beginning another campaign to support Maui relief. So thank you so much for all your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. This will conclude our Dharma family service. And so I'd like to say Nembutsu. Close with Kansho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. Okay, we'll be back in 5 minutes for Shotsuki, but we'll take a break. Thank you.